I'm recording this video on Saturday, May 30th, and it's a pretty historic day. We saw the launch of the Falcon 9 rocket from SpaceX, and it marks the first time in almost a decade that there's an American-made rocket launching from American soil, carrying astronauts into orbit. How does the Falcon 9 rocket relate to this YouTube channel and your college admissions chances? Watch till the end to find out. Hey everybody, it's James, and I'm one of the founders of Cortex Education. I'm a college admissions consultant focusing on personal development as the best way to achieve success. If you've been liking the content that I put out on this channel, go ahead and hit that like button down below because it really helps me as a new content creator on YouTube, and also hit that subscribe button and the notification bell because I have great content coming out over the next few weeks, multiple times per week, and you don't want to miss out on anything that's coming out on this channel. All right, so on to today's topic. What does this all have to do with college admissions? Let's start right there because I know a lot of you are in high school and you're kind of gearing up for college admissions and you're like, James, why are you talking about rockets and your YouTube channel? Well, we did some analysis this year on the college admissions results that we got from our students. And what we found was that there was a very clear pattern, and it seems to confirm this growing trend that we're seeing where colleges are taking into account these personal passion projects more than ever before. Now, one of the things that we do with our students is what's called a Cortex Project, and I'll tell you what that is in just a second. But for now, what I want to say is that the students who had really great Cortex projects, usually plural, were the ones who seemed to outperform the most in college admissions. They were the ones who got into colleges that their numbers probably didn't indicate that they would. All right, so what is a Cortex project? Well, there are a couple of requirements for a Cortex project. Number one is that it needs to relate to something that you're genuinely interested in. And usually for our students, that means something that's related to their primary intellectual interests. So if you're interested in medicine, then maybe it needs to deal with biology or anatomy or physiology. Or if you're interested in CS, then maybe it has to do with creating an app or some software or programming a website, right? But the format can be anything. We've had students create YouTube channels, nonprofits, you name it, all kinds of formats. The second requirement is that you manage the project from beginning to end, from A to Z. And that doesn't obviously mean that you have to do everything, but you do have to manage it, meaning you're responsible for making the project happen from beginning to end. And the third requirement is that it makes you uncomfortable in some way. Why do we say that? Well, you only grow when you're uncomfortable, right? So imagine, if you go to the gym or if you're in PE class and you never push yourself hard enough to actually be sore the next day or the day after that, you're probably not going to get the best results. What you need to do is actually push yourself into the realm of discomfort in the right ways in order to make progress. So those are the three requirements of what we call a Cortex project. And our students have come up with some really amazing ideas. For example, one of my students now has an international nonprofit organization that helps solve the problem of environmental waste while also addressing the problem of wealth disparity by redistributing unused food and clothes and shoes to organizations that serve people who need them most. And just recently, during the COVID-19 pandemic, she has actually spread her organization internationally. So rather than just sitting back and being like, oh no, I can't do anything, she's actually accelerated her progress probably 3 times what it was before the pandemic. And I have another student who's actually creating a website that helps you practice your skills in buying items that drop, like those like collectible shoes and things. I'm not plugged into this world, but there's like those brands. I guess like Supreme. I'm out of my depth here, but he created a website where you can practice the skill of reacting quickly when an item drops. You can buy it. That was an idea that he came up with on his own, and he's building it right now, and I think it's super interesting. So anyway, these are some examples of Cortex projects that my students are working on right now. And so this leads me to this YouTube channel. If you haven't picked up on this already, this channel is actually one of my Cortex projects that I have going on right now. But to give you some context, in my career so far, I've largely focused on providing a really impactful service to a small number of people. And so this is actually a big shift for me, where I'm shifting to having a bigger impact. And I know that this channel is just starting out, and at the time I'm creating this, I have just about a dozen videos and very few subscribers, about 24 subscribers. But the idea is that we all start somewhere, and I'm challenging myself, right? And the idea that I kind of don't know what I'm doing on this channel and I'm learning as I go is one of the factors that makes it a Cortex project. And this is how I want to relate this to the Falcon 9 rocket that launched today with 2 American astronauts on board. I mean, do you really think that Elon Musk, the founder and leader of SpaceX, was confident at all stages when he was creating this company, creating his rockets and putting these rockets up into space? Obviously not. I mean, actually, I've read his biography by Ashley Vance, and I'll put the link in the description to that book below. It's an amazing book. But Elon says that when he started out SpaceX, he knew that there was a very tiny chance of success, but it was important enough to him that he was going to give it a shot and he was going to challenge himself. What I take from this is that, if some guy out there named Elon could push himself that far to get into rocket science, literally when he had zero background in rocketry, he certainly didn't go to school for that, what are you stopping yourself from doing? I personally think that everybody should always have a Cortex project going on at all times, right? You should always be engaged in some kind of project where you really don't know exactly what you're doing, but you're finding out, you're learning along the way. I'll leave you with this question. What ideas do you have rolling around in your head that you're currently not pursuing? And why not? What is exactly stopping you from pursuing those ideas? If it's uncertainty, figure out what you need to do to start resolving that uncertainty, to find out what you need to do. And if it's some other reason, like you just don't have time, well, look for ways that you're actually currently not using your time very well. In the month of May, I actually did this experiment where I didn't watch any TV at all. And what happened? I created a YouTube channel. I miss a couple shows, but not too much, thankfully. But the idea is that you have a lot of time. You certainly have the same number of hours every single day as the most successful people that you really look up to. So think about how they use their time. Think about how you can use your time better. Resolve any uncertainties and go for it. If you like this video or if it was a little bit thought-provoking for you, go ahead and hit that like button down below if you don't mind. Again, my name is James. I'm one of the founders of Cortex Education, and I'm a college admissions consultant focusing on personal development as the best way to achieve success. Thank you so much for joining me today and watching this video till the end, and I'll see you next time.